How's it going, everyone? Matt from Backer Club here again with another creator interview. This time we have Sammy Robertson from WildPool. How's it going, Sammy?
Yay, Matthew. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really good.
Awesome. So we just have a few questions for you today, and without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it.
Great.
So, for someone that's brand new to WildPool, can you give us a brief overview of the shoe and the problem that it solves?
Yeah. So, look, first of all, this is a passion project of mine. And Whirlpool effectively is the performance slip on shoe for anyone who likes swimming, paddling, diving, sailing. It's sort of outdoorsy type person, whether it's going for a walk, a trek. And it's a shoe which ultimately just protects your feet. I mean, I'm quite a big guy and I'm a swimmer. And ultimately, I was trying to achieve a shoe, those sharp stones, mainly around most of the beaches of the UK. It's a shoe you can easily slip into and then just carry on your merry day.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So, how is WildPool different from other water shoes and outdoor footwear on the market?
Well,
What do you consider the shoe's like most valuable proposition?
I would say it's several things. Look, the idea was if you think about it, most beach shoes are ugly. So I wanted to create a shoe which was good looking, which was light, which was ultimately very comfortable as well. And a big thing for me is making sure it's recyclable. Being a swimmer in
Mm,
this era of plastic protecting our oceans, that was really important. Um, but yeah, I think one of the key things for me is comfort. And hopefully, I mean, it's subjective, but I think it's a good looking shoe.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's good looking too. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
there's
you.
at least two of us.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, where did the inspiration for Wild Pool come from? And what is
Okay.
your background in wild swimming and endurance swimming that drove the design?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So back in 2014, I was training to do the English Channel. And someone gave me a pair of beach shoes, which quite frankly, I looked at and I gulped. I thought, oh my God, they're ugly. But because they were a gift, I had to be very grateful. And, oh, thank you very much. And I wore them and they protected my feet and they were very comfortable. And I just had this itch, which goes back, as I say, 2014, where I thought, can
Yeah.
I design a shoe which ticks all those boxes? So it's come from a need, really, and I think a gap in the market. And I've gone on to do other swims, and most 99% of the beaches around the UK, it's painful. And as I say,
Yeah.
I'm a big guy, and standing on those sharp stones, it really hurts. So this desire to create this shoe, as I say, it's very much a passion project, but it's kind of grown, and I'm really enjoying in the different directions it's going.
Very cool. So, can you walk us through some of the key design features of the shoe, such as the drainage system or the orthopedic footbed or the
Yeah. So
antimicrobial
look,
shell?
I know obviously anyone listening can't see the shoe, but I've got the shoe here. So
Very
it's
cool.
it's very, very light. Okay. You can see the holes here at the side. So the drainage is very good. Um, we were quite big. I've got it here, the grip. So some of the shoes, especially beach shoes, they can be quite slippy. So actually having that grip was really important.
Yeah.
And as I say, it was really important to slip into a shoe and then slip out. But what was interesting, and this, I can't sort of jazz this up too much because it's slightly by default, we managed to create a shoe which you could swim in because a lot of people said to me, said, "Hey,
Wow.
Sammy, what's the shoe like to swim in?" And I was like, well, look, it's not really a shoe to swim in. It's when you come out the water and your feet are cold and you can slip in and then, carry on with your day. But I thought, right, I'm going to go swimming in the shoe. So I dived in one morning and I came up and not only did they stick to my feet, but they gave me buoyancy. And I was like, wow, that's
Mm,
quite nice because
very cool.
forget long distance swimmers, anyone who likes to go for a paddle. So if you're on the family holiday and you're having lunch with some friends or your family, you go, right, I'm going to leave the table. I'm going to go for a swim. You can walk down onto the beach, protect your feet, go into the sea, go for a nice paddle, maybe kick back and go onto your back and actually have that buoyancy. It's quite a nice feeling. And then to come back into dry land, the drainage is very good. And then you can go back to the table or go over where you want to go. That's quite useful.
Yeah.
Um, in the same breath, my son, and this terrifies me, he likes to go rock jumping. And I'm thinking,
Oh,
that's got to be careful. But if he's got a shoe with the grip and
yeah.
he's got stability, then, that's only a good thing. He can dive into or jump into the water, then go back onto the beach and, as I say, carry on with his day.
Yeah. Very cool. I know you actually kind of touched on this next question already. You've already named so many adventures, but this shoe is marketed as a one shoe every adventure. Like what does that mean to you? You know?
Yeah. So look, I think that sums up our goal. Use it however you want. So I've got a great family friend who's in his 80s, and I was talking to him about the shoe, and he called me 2 days ago, and he's actually in India, and he goes, Sammy, great news. I've been wearing your shoe religiously and I've been wearing it on the beach. I've been protecting my feet from the rocks. And he's used it on holiday, and in his own words, he hasn't taken it off. So if you imagine when you go away on holiday and you pack your trainers, you pack God knows how many pairs of
Yep.
shoes, taking one pair of shoes or two pairs of WildPools, then that's great. But wear the shoe how you want, whether it's walking the dog, being out and about, going to the pub, seeing friends, even wearing it around the house because it's light. It can almost act as a slipper. You can wear it with socks, and
Oh,
actually, that's
okay.
that's that's really nice. A couple of
Yeah.
friends have been lounging around their houses as a comfy slipper, and that's quite interesting.
That's quite an adventure there.
Yeah, exactly. Each their own, right?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So I know you said that this kind of shoe has a little bit of a recyclability aspect to it. Can you talk about the circularity and sustainability aspects of this project?
Yeah, I mean, I touched upon it earlier. I mean, it's really important to me.
Yep.
I'm a passionate open water swimmer, and keeping our seas and rivers and everything else clean. I wanted to create a shoe which is effectively it's a recyclable EVA, yeah, which
Okay.
means we can break down the shoe and start again, build the shoe again. And that's taken time to really sort of master. I'm not going to tell you how many. I think we've done to 27 different variations in
Wow.
total. So we're obsessed by detail.
Yeah.
Um, but that side has been really important to us and is one of the USPs of the shoe.
Yeah. 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 I know. I think that's really important to a lot of people, especially on Kickstarter. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
is. It
really
is.
like seeing that. Cool. So how much work has gone into designing a shoe like this? I know you said you had kind of had the idea in 2014, but like how long have you been actually like truly working on the shoe?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, the answer is more than people realize. I'm not going to tell you how many years I've been working on this, but as I say, this isn't my day job. I'm a property
Yeah.
guy. And this is a passion project, and it's taken years to get to this point. But Matt, I'm really pleased it has, because I think we've managed to build it's not just a shoe, but it's a community as well. And, coming out of COVID, I think, this whole term wild swimming is really, caught on. And, the swimming community for
Yeah.
me has been everything. Coming out of COVID was an awful time for me. I sadly lost my mum, and it
Oh,
was a
I'm sorry.
12-day process, and the water was great solace and great comfort. So this journey of building the shoe and telling the story, a story about a swimmer will only go so far, and it's interesting ultimately to swimmers, but really capturing the community and getting the community behind us
Yeah.
through Kickstarter, that's what it's done, has been really exciting. So we've really defined not just the shoe, but the brand as well,
Yeah.
and what it means, the sort of the values of the company.
Yeah. Very cool. It's a great story. So you mentioned we. Can you give us an overview of the team and our partners for the project? How many people
Yeah,
are
so look,
involved?
we're a small team and we've all got different skill sets. So
Yeah.
it's very much, my baby, my idea. But this is quite a cool story. So last summer, a great friend said, "Look, would you like to meet the founder of Reebok?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course." So we went and had this lunch. It was a very personal lunch. And he turned to me and he said, "Well, what's your story?" because I was sitting there like a spare part. And I said, well, look, I'm a property guy, but I've got this crazy shoe idea. And we spoke at length and I chewed his ear off for about 10 minutes. And he listened and he said, well, look, this is really interesting because I know nothing about swimming, but I'm an ex runner. And then he started telling me how he formed and
Mm,
founded Reebok with his brother. And he said, look, could you follow up with a deck? And I said, yeah, of course. So we put a deck together for him and we ended up having a long conversation over Zoom. And cut long story short, he said, look, I want to be involved. I think I can add value. So he's on our board. He's
very cool.
backing us. A lovely guy. I mean, purely so inspirational to even be in his presence, right? And that's what I love about this journey of the shoe. It's the characters I've met and the sort of characters who are backing us, and also not just backing us, but I call them ambassadors of the shoe. And
Yeah.
we did a gifting exercise to about 120 people. And that was a nerve wracking moment because it was like a Cinderella moment. I was sort of
Yeah.
going to people and saying, look, what do you think? Does it fit? What do you think on comfort? What do you think on the grip, et cetera, et cetera? And the feedback's been so encouraging. And not only that, people have really got behind the shoe. So sorry, that was a bit of a long-winded answer, but the core team were a small team, but I call them ambassadors because
Yeah.
I feel so many people have been so supportive and loyal and posting on Instagram and sort of tagging us. And that means the world. We recently sponsored the GB Ice team who went out to the
Oh, cool.
European Championships, and we did a bespoke shoe in the British colours, base colours white,
Yeah.
throw in the red and the blue. You got the British flag, and the team were just so supportive. And not only that, we've now had other teams, and can't say who, but approach us saying, "Can you do the same for our countries?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow!" So I
Very
want
cool.
this to start within the swimming community, and then just see how it evolves. And
Yeah.
it's so wonderful when you see the shoe on someone's foot and you have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
They're like, "Wow!" And they're giving this really amazing feedback.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, that's a very common theme in Kickstarter projects now is like small but very efficient teams. So keep the costs low, keep everything moving
Yeah.
very quickly. And yeah, and in this day and age, everything can be so compartmentalized. You don't need a huge team to accomplish, things anymore.
That's
So
it. That's it.
yeah,
I think, small is good. And,
yeah.
if it
Agile.
goes in the
Yeah.
direction I want, then, then great. But at the moment, we're a small team and yeah, we'll see where it goes. But we actually got awarded through the Kickstarter projects we love,
Yep.
um, which if you're new to Kickstarter, it's kind of a big deal. And it was a huge moment for us and really sort of validated what we're doing,
Yeah.
and shows the support and people getting behind us.
Cool. So yeah, I have to ask then, with all the ways, especially because, you had met the owner of Reebok, with all the ways to launch a new product, why Kickstarter? And how do you think the campaign has been going for you?
So Kickstarter has allowed us to build a community, and we built a database of I think 15,000 people.
Wow.
How do you build something from scratch? It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
The day of launch, we raised. I feel very sort of humbled by the amount, and I was very not surprised, but it's a very nerve wracking moment when you hit launch. Um, but what it means is we've got proof of the demand before we do mass production.
Mm.
And again, just from the sustainability point, I don't want to over order. I really want to understand how many people out
Yeah.
there, who actually want the shoe. So the campaign's been incredible. I mean, it's been a real learning curve, and we've got thousands of backers behind us, and we've got
Yep.
sort of real momentum. So it's been a fascinating process, but it has been a process. It's not easy. It's not like you
No.
just sign up to
No,
the
it's not.
platform and you're like, "Hey, here's the shoe, over to you." It's a lot of work, but
Yep.
it's meaningful. Um, every day. I mean, I'm spending, going back to, sort of time on this, but a huge amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's spinning plates, but everyone's busy, right? If you're not busy, you're not working.
Yeah.
It's just life. I've got 4 kids, who
Wow.
I love and adore. Got my property company, got this passion project. Um, but the Kickstarter has been a fabulous process.
Very cool. So last but certainly not least, is there anything that you'd like to say directly to the backers?
Well, listen, honestly, I just want to say a big thank you. I think backing a first time creator takes trust. you're not just buying, I believe this, a shoe. You're backing an idea, and we were playing the long game here, right? We're listening and we're refining. And we've done 27 different types of variations of the shoe to get it how perfect we think it is. And WildPool isn't just the footwear. As I mentioned, it's the community. It's about the individuals, who choose the water. It's quite a brave thing, and it's just such a wonderful thing, the water for me, because it kind of strips you back, to your bare bones. And the relationships I've met and the people, it goes back sort of years now, back to 2014, where I've just met some inspirational people, and a lot of those people are a part of the shoe. So I'm just very grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. Sammy Robertson from WildPool. Go check out their campaigns live on Kickstarter right now. I think it's only got a few days left, less than a week. So
Yeah, it's
thank
very
you much.
true.
Thank you much
Thank you,
for
Matt.
your time.
Thank you. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Bye bye.